Mm-hmm.
So that little store, one of the owners is an works for an architect firm, and she, along with the architect firm, helped design.
It's beautiful.
Here, I should take a picture of you standing in front of
Okay.
this.
Early today, PJ took us to the Japanese American Museum of San Jose, which it might not seem relevant, but actually I think it gave us a really clear understanding of where she comes from as a Japanese American taiko player here, and how she wrote a Janaika and why she wrote a Janaika.
Okay.
Okay. This is our docent tour guide of the day for the Japanese American Museum of San Jose. This is Roy Matsuzaki, and he went into internment camp when he was 10 years old. So when he comes and shows visitors what the Japanese American experience is like, he's speaking from his heart and from experience.
And why her community is so important to her, and how and why she uses taiko for her community, identity, history, and all of that.
But in fall of 1944, they arrested 1,600 Hopi and sent them to federal prisons. And that's sort of combat.
We met a guy called Roy. He was the guy who took us around the museum, and he'd actually been in an internment camp at the age of 10. So, and I asked him as well, how he kind of felt about that now. The fact that he is an American citizen. That was the first thing he said. I am an American. I am an American citizen. I just think it's obviously something that's not over, and it's something that's not finished with, but an incredible amount of healing has already taken place. I think there's obviously still more to be done. But it's something I knew very little about. I think it's a very, it's a.
I think it's really hard to comment on it, isn't it? Because it's kind of, I still feel fairly ignorant about it. I feel it's fairly new information to us. So it was really interesting to go around, and it was really, there's a lot of difficult feelings because it was not something, it's kind of, well, it didn't affect me. It wasn't anything to do with my history or my heritage, but it's quite shocking that it happened.
Not by war
Japanese Canadians were sent to intern in the summer.
And it gives you kind of an understanding of everything PJ sort of talked about and referred to.
And that kind of idea of as well of the difficulty in having an identity, going back a few years, because I don't know, I kind of, the impression that I kind of get is that if you were in those kind of early generations of Japanese, being a Japanese American, or being a second or third generation Japanese American, then the Caucasian American, they're all immigrants anyway. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can.
Japanese were supposed
Oh
to
yeah,
be,
the barbed wire.
here are two Japanese gentlemen building models of Japanese. You can get up to 130 degrees. So they built double roofs.
But they wouldn't see that person as particularly American, especially because of the war. They would maybe be seen as, the enemy, or, not in the right. But then maybe the Japanese Americans themselves didn't feel particularly Japanese either, and they felt more American. They didn't feel very connected to their Japanese heritage. So it was a really interesting, very, very interesting place.
And it's not
So that during the day, that would be the
So
coolest
there's
place to be.
volunteers, everybody's volunteering.
It's an important message that needs to be made known.
Oh, here's a good picture if you want to include.
And a very beautiful place.
Yeah.
And and very uplifting actually. I mean, there was a lot of very difficult history there, but it's incredibly uplifting too.
You would notice.
Tags that people were wearing.
Yeah, actually, this was an installation done by an artist, contemporary
They
artist,
all have
that
farms.
went through all the directories of names of families that were given numbers.
Wow.
And she had people throughout the U.S.
Roar
write
and Jerome
people's
were
names and numbers.
It's
For
very
just the extent to see that each little piece of paper represented a person.
So there was, it took us through the story of the forced removal of Japanese families from their homes into these camps, and they were taken away on trains and trucks, I think, as well, and things like that, all sorts. And some families were sent miles and thousands of miles away from their homes, and they lost everything. They lost their cars, their houses, all of their belongings. They were just told that they could take, you know, a suitcase worth or something
We have 11 here.
away, and that they were sent away for all these years, and children had to grow up, spend part of their childhood growing up in these places. And
So the Roy today, he was saying that, you know, he spent 4 years?
4 years, I think. Yeah, he got there when he was 10. He left when
Yeah.
he was about 13, 14. He
And he
said.
said, you know, he left for 4 years. He was there for 4 years, and then he left, and then a couple of years later, he got his sign-up papers. So it was like, it's. I don't know, you know.
I suppose you make up your own opinions on that. So, but yeah, and you know, there was a lot of uplifting things about the rich heritage and contribution that the sort of Japanese American community have actually made.
February 1954, returned to camp after the rehabilitation authorities supported the Ocean Baptist Church, and they allowed them to have a farm.
The farming industries, the fruit, and the all the, you know, from dentists or opticians.
Still check up on the group.
So, you know, people in service, people going out to fight wars on behalf of.
So the San Jose Airport is named after Norman Mineta. Norman Mineta was born here. He was the first Japanese American to become a mayor of a major city in the United States.
Of things and how it's all, I mean, how did it all heal itself, or how did it begin to heal itself? Or has it healed itself?
The thing is, like, is it really the end?
No,
No.
well, you know, yeah.
And show it to the